All right, so let me do a quick intro. This is the Get You Some Productions podcast episode, maybe a 90 something, maybe 100 and something. I'm actually not sure. We got a bunch in the can. They have yet to come out. I would take a guess and say this is 97, 98. We're a music production podcast. We cover everything related to music production from the first note to the last fan and everything in between. So we talk about all sorts of music production stuff. If you want to support the podcast, you can click one of the first links I'm going to put in the show notes is a link to our Reverb affiliation. Reverb is a marketplace for music gear. So if you want to support the podcast, you can go, click the link, shop for your whatever gear you want, and we get a small commission, no additional cost to you. That's the first thing. Now, I have a special guest today, Josh Salant. So say hi, because I'm not sure, this might, and actually say hello.
Hello, how's it going?
All right, so I think we're recording. So I've had trouble with Zoom where it records only who's speaking.
Oh.
But I don't think it's doing that now. I think it's just recording the way it looks now.
Okay, cool.
So I hope so. It's not reliable. It looked fine, and then I looked back at the recording, and it didn't do what I wanted it to do. So I'm not assuming. Josh, tell people where to find you, your studio, and any other projects you want. I'll put links in as well.
Cool. Well, if you go on Facebook or Instagram and you look up Salant Sound, Salant Sound, or if you go on YouTube and you type in Josh Salant or Salant Sound, you can find the studio, which is located in Canarsie. And also, you can go on salantsound.com. I have a lot of videos on YouTube, and I play a lot around town. You know, sometimes I play out of town, but if you look up bands like the Coffin Daggers or bands like Marzana and the Bandits or a band called Power Chords or a band called No Call, No Show, these are all some bands I play with. I play in a couple other ones too.
All drums, right?
I'm sorry?
You play drums in all these bands?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I play drums in these bands, and they're not always active at the same time, but the ones I mentioned, they've been active a lot last year, you know?
Okay, so I'm going to put links for Salant Sound, and if you want me to put links for it, and your YouTube is probably good. If you want me to put links for any of those bands in, just send them to me and I'll throw them in the show notes.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much, Keith.
Absolutely. So today we're going to discuss possibly kind of like an idea for a collaboration that I had. So, and it was stemmed from this book. Actually, it stemmed from the fact that this project, Get You Some Productions, is not actually just a podcast. We are allegedly a production company. We haven't produced shit except for this podcast and recordings for all my projects. I mean, I have a lot of, we'll call them brands. I have a lot of YouTube channels. I have a lot of stuff that I do online, but I haven't made a recording. I shouldn't say we haven't released anything. We've released jam tracks.
Oh, cool.
Specific jam tracks that go along with a guitar lesson website.
What website?
It's called getchasomeguitar.com.
Oh, I like
So it's all the same brand, right? Get You Some Productions, Get You Some Guitar. So I have specific jam tracks we've produced in the past couple of years that go along with the method, that one of the methods we teach in the guitar lesson website. But I haven't produced I haven't produced any original music in a long time.
Yeah.
We released an album in 2012. We actually re-released, I shouldn't say re-released, we released a live recording
Nice.
in 2022.
Nice.
That was recorded on the anniversary of the concert that happened in 2012.
So cool.
So we haven't released, but I haven't personally released. That's why I reached out to you in the first place, was because I want to start releasing I want to start releasing original music again.
Yeah.
But my partner Dan and I, who's not available for the call, we want to start producing actual, being producers on actual records for other people. So here's my idea. We set up a page on the Get You Some Productions website that is music production services.
Yeah.
People go in, there's a questionnaire. Now the questionnaire actually comes from this book that I'll figure out what it's called, and I'll send you a copy. Send me your address.
Cool.
When I figure out what it is. But anyway, there's a questionnaire that this guy goes through, and this is actually the guy who produced some big records. I want to say Soundgarden's like breakout hit was produced by this guy. Anyway, he wrote a book. It's something about creativity. We thought it was really, what?
Brendan something?
That's Brendan?
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm blanking on his name, and I'm blanking on the name of the book.
Yeah.
He's got a whole process for producing these great records where he goes through a process with the artist. The idea is we'd go through this very exhaustive process with the artist. It's an intake form. They fill out a questionnaire. We go through, we interview them on the podcast. We maybe help them write songs. We do consulting on the songwriting. I have a friend who I co-write with. You can be involved or not to the extent that you want. And then when they get done with that, I charge them a small bit. Probably I charge them like, nothing. Whatever you charge, I'm thinking maybe I just charge them like 10% or something. We'll figure it out. Maybe it'll get more elaborate, and maybe I'll start charging a lot more.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll have to work on the pricing a little bit, but
yeah.
Then when they're actually ready to record, I send them to you and you get paid. I think I'll set it up on the website where they have to put it all in, and then there's even a checkout thing where they pay up front. And then so I take my fee and I send you the balance.
Yeah.
And then, and so it's sort of like, that's how it would work. The reason I want to talk to you is, first of all, you're down with something like this. That's the first thing.
Sure.
And the second thing is, what would you want me to put on the website for you so that they know what you offer, and what do you need to know up front before you get involved with someone who wants to make a recording? And what do they need to know? Like, do they have to bring the whole band? Does it cost more? I know you play a lot of instruments, so does it cost more or less if they show up just a singer-songwriter, but you're playing all the instruments? All that kind of, all the logistics stuff that I would put into the questionnaire. And then we'd both get, basically you and I would both get a report from this questionnaire, like an output, that says, this is the person, this is their artistic vision, this is how many songs they want to do. Maybe we ask for MP3s, like scratch copies of them up front, all this stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was the idea. This is an idea I had years ago, actually during the pandemic, and I just never moved on it, but better late than never, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? It's something that actually it's good because, a lot of times, like I'm an engineer, so when bands come, there's usually somebody in the band that's kind of like the producer, maybe it's a guitar player, a songwriter, maybe it's a singer, maybe it's a drummer,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Somebody has kind of like a vision of what they kind of want to see at the end.
Totally.
And a lot of times, sometimes when you work with young bands or little less experienced bands, they kind of don't know. They bite off a little more than they can chew,
Mm-hmm.
So, sometimes it's a matter. Sometimes people want to get 10 songs down, but they really should try to get one song down first,
Yeah.
Just see.
Well, look at me. I've been in the studio a bunch of times with my prior band.
Yeah.
And then I was in the studio with my own band. And when I came to you, I was like, dude, let's just do one song.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's see if we can do one. Let's see if we can get one fucking song on tape.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
one song can actually kickstart your career. A lot of artists I work with, they're young, they don't have anything released, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they haven't released things in a long time. So they kind of forgot the process. So sometimes if you just have that one song and you focus on it and you get it really tight and it's
Mm-hmm.
good, then you can use that. You could shoot a music video maybe, and then
Mm-hmm.
that could be like a real stepping stone to, getting a nice gig. Like, that can make a big difference as opposed to 10 songs no one's going to listen to because they're too sloppy. You know
Right.
what I mean?
I do.
So yeah, it's good to see where people are at.
Yeah.
I've been doing this thing, because I don't want people to feel rushed, and I don't want them to feel like they have to cram everything in. So I just give them like a flat rate, and I say, hey, listen, we have X amount of time to do this, so let's just do it right, and not worry about trying to get it done super fast and sloppy. Like, let's just do it till it feels right. And it's been working. I feel like artists have much less stress. The quality is much better, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they can get the band here in a couple weekends. It's not a project that is ongoing for 6 months or a year where the whole personnel lineup has changed, or it's like I've done that for so many years where, I've like worked with bands and, like a year later,
All of a sudden, you have a new singer.
yeah, and then so I'm like, well, let's release the other tracks, and they go, oh, no, 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 we're not going to release the tracks that she's on or he's on. I'm like, but you guys spent so much time and effort,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you don't want to waste it, but so this way it's a little more concise. And you think about some of our favorite records, like Paranoid, 3 days. Black Sabbath's Paranoid, three
Yeah.
days. It was
Yeah.
10 to 6 on a Friday tracking, 10 to 6 on Saturday tracking, and then 12 to 6 on Sunday mixing.
Yep. That too, totally.
And it came out great.
You know what? I don't know, man. That makes me stressed out, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's hard when you're when you're in a band, you're married to 4 different people. So you got to worry about their schedules. You got to worry
Yeah.
about their feelings at the time. If their problems. They a lot of times people can leave that at the door, but some
Yeah.
people can't. You know,
Yeah.
so you really it's hard as a band leader, to herd all the cats and get them all in, get them on time, get them focused,
Yeah.
make sure you do stuff. So this way I feel like with if you do the way I've been doing it with a flat rate, it's been better. and
Yeah.
and nobody's been taking advantage of. They're not pushing it to a point where we're all exhausted. They're using the time wisely, which I think is really the whole point of it.
Yeah. That shows a lot, actually. I think it's a wise thing because you don't want people in there getting stressed out about, the clock is ticking and it's like a meter running.
Yeah.
And that's not good for creativity.
No, and also, the fact that, you know, they won't go over budget because they know the budget. They have the budget. They're not, there's no surprises. There's no,
Right.
oh, wait, what's all this? It's,
Yeah.
they know exactly, what they want to spend, and they know exactly, how much time they have, and they have fun. They have
Yeah.
more fun with it. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So what do you think we should, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a questionnaire on, so actually part of the way I do things is I do these podcasts and then I have it on tape, what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then that helps me just get through shit. Like, I'm like, oh, and I'm rewatching this later
Yeah.
on when it finally comes out in a few, weeks or whatever, a few months, I don't know.
Yeah.
Then I look back at it and I'm like, oh, that's right. This is what I wanted to do. So I'm going to put a questionnaire on the website. It's going to say production services, here are the rates, right? The rates are going to be whatever your rates are. And actually, we could discuss this now. It should be whatever your rate is, plus I'll add on
Yeah,
whatever my small fee is. So
yeah,
if it's 350 for a day, whatever your fee, and you'll have to update me if you change your rates or whatever, but if it's 350, I'm going to say 400, right?
yeah. Makes
And I'm
sense.
going to say, hey, here's what you get from us.
Yeah,
You go through this questionnaire, you answer, you get your artistic, vision laid out in a concise way that's clear. We go through it with you in the podcast. So there's a recording of it. We talk through everything. As many shows as it takes, we're going to go through all these questions, all your answers. We're going to talk it through so you don't walk into this blind and you
yeah,
feel prepared when you show up on the day of recording.
yeah,
Then there's going to be a list of asks from Josh, right? That says, hey, I need this and this and this up front. You need to show up in this blah, 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 blah. Like you need to have all this shit in, all your ducks in a row.
yeah,
And then we're off to the races. Basically, there's something like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Makes sense. I mean, that's like production. Production is a lot more than just the day of the tracking.
right.
There's got to be a production within the band. Everybody's rehearsed, all the part. Everybody's instruments are in decent shape. Good.
Yeah.
Everything's intonated. Everything's in tune. String changes should be. They should.
Prior to,
Yeah, they should.
yeah,
A lot of times when I work with younger bands, we always do that first session. I just do like a free pre-production session, really, where they
yeah,
come up and I go, that guitar, man, that pickup is acting up. So either take it to the shop and try to get it fixed, or use one of my guitars, or use another one of your guitars. But if it's gonna cause a problem, during tracking, it's gonna slow you down. So
yeah.
let's rectify these problems now before we're actually trying to get stuff done.
So I'm glad we got on the call for this because that's a good point. Because we could basically put a checklist that says, hey, if you could show up and have done all this,
Yeah,
then, actually this guy from this book says that before he even does it, he shows up to rehearsals.
yeah, I
And
do that.
Yeah, so I mean, so that's part of it. I don't think I'm going to be doing something like that, but if they want to send, if they want to send scratch tracks, I think that might be something. Because I told you, I'm thinking that maybe songwriting consultancy sort of might be part of the thing, where like we can get a songwriting consultant on the song if they feel like they need to take another pass at it before they before they lock themselves in.
Yeah,
You
that
know?
sounds like a good idea, man.
Yeah.
You know
Okay.
that
Good.
this
So what's
by
that?
there's this great series of books actually by the same author. His name is Mixer Man, Eric Serafine,
Nope. Don't
and
know.
the first book he came out was Zen and the Art of Producing,
Yeah.
and he's based out of Asheville, North Carolina now.
Okay.
But he's been an author for a long time, and
Yeah.
he had this book Zen and the Art of Producing, which spoke just about that, going to rehearsals and seeing where the band's at, seeing the gear, the challenges, stuff like that.
Yep.
uh, then he had another book called Zen and the Art of Mixing,
Yeah.
which all the mixing, it was a pretty technical book, but also pretty like I guess holistic, you know.
Yes.
Like one of the things he says in the book that really stuck with me was, if you think of everything in the studio in terms of musical terms, bars, beats, you know, a chorus, a verse, and you break it down, everything in the studio becomes much easier.
What do you mean?
Like some people, and you've probably experienced this a lot being in
Yeah.
band stuff, but some people say, hey, this goes on for 4 times, and then this goes on for 4 times, and this goes on for 2.5 times. And times when people say, oh, this goes on for a certain amount of times, guitar
Oh,
players think of things differently than drummers sometimes, because the drummer's playing the same, he might be playing the same beat, so the times kind of get blurred, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So drummers tend to think of things in measures, in bars,
Measures.
in,
Yeah,
in beats. Oh, I see what you're doing. You want me to come in on the pickup on the 4, and then it's going to be, that rest is actually going to be 3 beats long. And the guitar player goes, what? You know,
right.
then I think but at the same time, it's once everybody's on the same page, it
Mm-hmm.
makes more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he definitely, he, uh, he described it a little bit better than I just did.
Yeah,
But those books are great, man. They're called Zen of the Art. Zen of the Art of Producing, Zen of the Art of Mixing, and Zen of the Art of
yeah.
Recording by
Sounds like good stuff. Yeah,
yeah, Mixer Man, his name is.
totally. Yeah,
But if you like books like that, I mean,
I
I read.
do.
They're fun. They're fun reads too.
Yeah. Well, we actually were reading the one that I was talking about on the podcast.
Yeah.
We read it chapter by chapter, and me and my friends got on a show and did a review of each chapter.
So cool.
Yeah, so we did that a long time ago. We were doing that during the pandemic.
Ah.
So but the guy you recommend sounds like the concepts are very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm about it. When you're doing this job, daily, you see similar problems
Yep.
arise.
Yeah.
And that's how you you try your best to mitigate them. You know.
Okay, so I think I totally
Yeah.
yeah, because you've seen all the issues. So here's what I
Yeah.
think we should do now. So I will start this process,
Yeah.
and then once I get the website, like the page up and running and the questionnaire and the intake form and maybe a checkout link or whatever, I don't know, then I get it rolling. I'll send you it and see how you like it.
Sounds good, man.
I'm sort of envisioning that there'll be more than one producer that I'll be working with, you
Yeah.
know? I mean, but who knows, maybe we'll get 0 hits, right? Or maybe I'll fill your whole schedule. I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
just hope for the best. I don't know.
Yeah.
But once it gets rolling, you'll believe that I'll be advertising it for sure.
Yeah.
So
Cool thing about studio. That's the cool thing about being in the studio too. It's like, like you come in with absolutely nothing. I mean, you come in with an idea, but you come in with nothing, and then when you leave, you have like a tangible thing. Like, holy crap, we laid down all these cool parts, and it's sounding really good, and I got some ideas. I want to do some harmonies. Like, it gets the juices flowing.
I agree.
And it's fun.
It's a fun, dude. I miss being in the studio. I love being in the studio.
Well, the
That's
studio.
why yeah.
Those things. It's like you come in, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. And like when I was a kid, you know, I had started building my studio at like 14, but I had a lot of good mentors over the years that helped me out, and they let me be a studio rat. They said, "Hey, man, come in. Can you, can you, they would tell me like, I have a little job for you. Can you do it? Yeah, yeah, of course. And like just being in the studio, you learn, you pick up things, you get excited, and then it becomes part of your life. Like you, man, you're a musician, and you're a studio rat too. You just
I used to be.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm coming to your studio, man. I'm gonna put my rat suit on and we're
You're
gonna
always
rat out.
there's always bands. I'm always recording bands, so you're always welcome to just come by and hang.
Yeah,
Bands love it. I mean, they want to have a party. They want to have fun.
they do. I know. So I don't want to take your whole night. So let's talk about my perspective recording. So I told you, I want to start with one song. I have one song that I have written. So here's how I envision things. It's actually a very simple, stripped down tune.
Hi.
Hopefully it'll just be me my friend who's a bass player.
Nice.
I'm going to try to get a drummer.
Cool.
If I
And
don't get a drummer,
for you. Of
yeah, if I don't get a drummer, then that was my first question. Will you play drums?
course. I do it all the time, man.
Yeah, that would be amazing if you did. And the second thing is the way I do record, like I told you, I make jam tracks.
Cool.
So the way I do recordings now is I do the Native American use the whole animal.
Yeah.
Okay. So my vision is once we get the basic thing recorded, I'm gonna want to do a version. This song has two versions, so I'm not sure. This is kind of why I'm bringing it up because I'm not sure if I should try to do both versions in one session, or if I should just do the one version. Because so like I told you, I have a lot of brands.
Yeah.
There's basically like a single version of the song that's shorter.
Yeah.
And then there's kind of like a longer version with a little bit of a weird bridge and then a jammed out section.
Nice.
But they're ultimately the same song, but they're a little different. And one goes with one band that's just the traditional rock band, and one goes with kind of like a jam band sort of project. So there's two different versions of the song, but even still, I want to make sure I have all the raw, stems and whatnot, because what I'll end up doing is I'm going to have someone basically make loops and do jam tracks based upon the tunes and do them in all 12 keys so that people who want to practice to them
I like it.
and practice in all 12 keys. So this is kind of like, and then maybe even just put the stems with click tracks on the jam track version of the song for this other brand.
Yeah.
So that if someone who plays drums wants to play along with it, there's jam tracks with a click in and then a click track throughout. I think that's probably the most logical way to do it. But that's kind of the way. So it's like once we record it, I'm gonna keep it all. I'm gonna use it to the extent, the maximal extent I can. Plus, I'm gonna do a single version of both of these tunes. So each band is gonna put out a single.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have, like I was just talking with a friend of mine who lives in Bay Ridge, and he does orchestral scores.
Nice.
And he can put like an orchestra on the tune if I want.
Beautiful.
So I'll do a single version, and then throughout this whole year, I'm going to keep coming back doing more and more songs. And then I'm going to have collaborators come in and add on tracks for an album, add on, special like fancy shit for the album versions. And then I'm going to eventually put out an album with all the songs, but they're kind of like souped up versions of the songs.
Nice.
So that's kind of the idea. So at least I'll be releasing something as I'm going along, but then.
And have nice assets for people to use and practice with. Yeah,
exactly. So that's the idea. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I should just, probably what I should do is just say, hey, look, I'm coming in. I'll come in one day. We'll just, if we can get one song done in one day, basically recorded and mixed. Is that possible?
Yeah. I do it all the time.
Yeah. So one song recorded and mixed in a day, and, and whatever we get done, we get it done. But hopefully we'll shoot for that. That's basically the bottom line, right?
Yeah. Sounds
Perfect.
good.
Good.
And then, I can always give you the multi-tracks so you can mess with them, and you can, if you want, your buddy can add his horn
score or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's fun, man.
Yeah, man. Cool. So
do you use any specific DAW or use?
I don't know. No. So likely what's going to happen is I think I would say if I had anybody doing overdubbing, I'd probably send it to a friend of mine who uses, I think he just uses, Pro Tools.
Oh, cool.
I mean, whatever happened to, wasn't there like a big thing with one of the DAWs, like one of them got canceled or there was some big issue recently? Or is it not, am I imagining that?
Well, a lot of people, they're not crazy about, subscription based AWs where they got to pay every month, So sometimes people opt in for buying like a one-time fee, you know. So Pro Tools and in the video world, Adobe Premiere and the Adobe Suite, they're all monthly subscription. So a lot of people who've been in the business for a long time who've used that stuff. I used to work at a studio in Manhattan with this band called Shinobi Ninja, and they
You
used
you
Logic.
worked with Shinobi Ninja?
Yeah,
Oh, so you know Dave?
yeah.
Oh my God, that's
Dave.
hilarious.
And also, Alien Lex. He's from Diker, not too far.
I want to show you something funny.
Yeah.
So I don't really, I mean, I know Dave kind of like, I
Actually,
know, what's that?
yeah, right here.
That's hilarious. I need to get one of those stickers. Those are legendary stickers.
Oh yeah. Well, I could get them from Dave. You can get them from Dave. Dave
I was,
got plenty of them.
I don't really, I know him sort of like he's sort of like, I don't know how I got to know him.
Yeah.
I think maybe he's part of the Bay Ridge Musicians page, believe
Yeah.
it or not.
Well, he's a Bensonhurst guy.
Yeah, so I would just chat with him and we text back and forth occasionally, but one of my brands is called Mitochondriac.
Nice.
And it's like a, more like a fusion-y shred guitar thing.
That's the cell that that's part of the cell that like splits things up, right?
That's the
Hey.
part. So this guy, which you can't really see it.
Yeah.
Oh, you can see that, right?
Yeah. Cool.
Dave's nephew designed this guy for me. That's like my logo for this other brand.
So cool.
Yeah, so Dave's nephew designed that for me because he was posting shit that his nephew designed.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, would your nephew design something for me? And he's like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
Dave told me in 2009 when I started working with them, because I was using Cubase,
I was going to ask you about Cubase.
I was running the studio in Cubase, and he goes, "Dude, you got to learn Logic yesterday."
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So I got a copy of Logic. I started learning it, and I've been using it since 2000.
Oh, so do you use Logic now?
Yeah.
Okay. So whatever, I don't care. Look, if I have to do overdubs and I have to come back to you, then I'm just coming back to you. I don't care.
Oh, well,
if my friend can't.
The thing is with audio, it's so easy. It's just WAV files. So
Yeah.
WAV file, once you can use WAV files in any program.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have WAV files. That's universal. You
Okay.
can throw them into GarageBand. You can throw them into Pro Tools.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really anything. Video programs even. So you'll be able to use them. They're universal.
All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you, before I forget, I'm going to send you a copy of the song,
Cool.
acoustic.
Nice.
That's it. And you can just listen to it so you have an idea of it. And then I'll let you know if I'm going to find a drummer or not.
Okay.
It's a super simple song.
Great.
And then and then we got to set a date. That's it. So this weekend's not going to work. Well, I don't know. This weekend's not going to work for me. But I'm going to have some time in not this coming week, but the following weeks.
Cool.
So we'll probably work something out then. But do you do weekends at all?
I do. The weekends in January are all booked up
Fine.
right now, but
Okay.
I got plenty of weekends available during the week. It's 7 days a week, so anytime that works for you.
All right. So we'll work it out. We'll just text back and forth and work it out.
Yeah, we could always a lot of times I do blocks too. It depends on what people want to do, but if they want to book a Friday, Saturday, Sunday and leave their gear and stuff. People
Yeah.
do it all the time.
Yeah. Well, like I'm coming in. The plan is right now I'm coming in with an acoustic guitar.
Cool.
And we're going to record like just a fairly bare bones, single version of this tune.
Yeah.
And it's going to be just like a very straight ahead rock song,
I like it.
like rootsy rock song.
I like it.
And, you know, if I'll do, maybe I could do overdubs if, you know, something inspires me.
Yeah.
But more than that, you know, that's it. It's going to be simple. It's going to be pretty straightforward. So I think we can just probably bang it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be fun, man.
Yeah.
It'll be fun, you
Yeah.
know.
We just got to get it rolling, man. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, we will. We will.
Great.
You know, really what it comes down to is the deadlines we all make, it's just kind of it's just kind of for us, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We could do it and we'll make it happen. And once you get the ball rolling, once
Yeah.
you start recording, you're like, I got the bug, man, the recording bug.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want
Yeah.
to keep recording, you know?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Cool, man.
Good, man. I'm glad we hooked up finally again after all these years. And yeah, look forward to making shit happen.
Well, Keith, thanks so much
Yeah.
for having me, and it's great to talk to you and great to hang out. I know
Yeah.
you've been a musician a long time, so you know I know we've been in the same boat, you know, and it's
Yeah. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was good to just
And we've been in each other's orbits for a while, so you know it's good to actually, like, if I actually get to meet you in person, that's going to be a win.
yeah. Well, you will, man. You know I'm not far.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll go out for some salty dog.
Oh Lord,
Buffalo. You ever had the Brooklyn Buffalo wings? Oh man.
no, actually,
They use like basil and oregano in the buffalo sauce, or
Yeah.
I'm guessing, but holy crap, man, some of the best wings. And I like
we're at the Salty Dog.
wrong, but I'm a big fan of salty
You
dog.
have a preference of the Salty Dog wings.
Yeah.
You're gonna hate me because I find wings to be so annoying.
Yeah.
They're fucking dirty. They're hard to eat. It's a lot of work for a little bit of meat. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, oh.
Well,
You
I'm
know?
fancy. I eat my wings with a fork, and I
Is that right?
do.
I don't blame you for that.
Especially if I'm going to go over to Status Q. I don't want to, get their cues all dirty.
Covered it with sauce. It's nasty. Yeah.
But yeah, man,
Yeah, man. Good.
It's good to talk to you, man. I can't wait for you to hang, and this studio is going to be your home. Just come by, hang out. There's always bands recording here.
Awesome.
So we'll always have fun.
Great.
There's always time for you to come by and party, my man.
I'm psyched, man. We're gonna do this. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too, man.
Cool.
Man. Sounds great.
Great. All right, Josh. Thanks, man.
Thank you, man. It was great talking to you, Keith, as always.
Same.
So we'll be partying soon, my dude.
Hell yeah.
Let's live it up. Yeah,
baby.
It's double. And,
Fuck yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to ask you before you leave. Your main instrument's guitar, or you play bass too and stuff?
Main instrument's guitar. I mean, I have a few basses and I play them a little bit, but hardly ever.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So.
Well, we'll be partying. We'll be rocking.
Yeah, it's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, man. Can't wait.
Cool.
All right, man. Well, you take care.
Later, man.
Peace.
See ya.